Welcome back, guys. It's me, JV. Thank you for watching another episode of JV's Food Adventures. It is the holidays still. You know, we have New Year's Eve coming up. Same thing, New Year's Eve, just like Christmas, you want to be in and out of the kitchen. You don't want to be in the kitchen all day. So what we're going to make today is going to make it that much easier for you to do. So here, I have a ribeye roast. It's great for having a big event. Beautiful. You can see here I have the butcher, trusted together to hold it nice and tight. Okay, so first thing you want to do is we're going to season our ribeye roast. So here we go. So I have some sea salt here. Now with a big piece of meat, you want to make sure you season every single part of the steak. So now that we added our salt, we're going to add some pepper to our steak. Okay, so I'm going to season over the top of our steak. Nice amount of pepper there. Flip it over. Remember, don't be shy with the seasoning. Okay, flip it over. Some more pepper. So before we start cooking our meat here, you want to make sure you put your pan on the stove, add a little bit of oil. You're going to get that pan super hot because there's a lot of fat here that you want to render off. So now that we cleared out all the smoke, we're not dead, we're still alive. The house is in one piece. We're gonna keep our steak in this cast iron skillet and we're gonna finish it in the oven. So we're just gonna check our temp right now so we see how much more time needed. And right now we're looking at about 57 degrees Fahrenheit. So I want it to be 145 degrees. So we're gonna cook this in the oven for around 2 hours at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And then once we finish our hour and a half, I'll check it, make sure it's 140 degrees to the temperature I want. And if not, I'll throw it back in and finish it off. You take this out. Now we're gonna put it in our oven. So now that our ribeye is seasoned, put it in the oven. Once it's in the oven, just let it do its magic. You don't have to touch it. You don't have to open and close the oven every 2 minutes. Just let it cook. Let it bring all that flavor out. You don't want that temperature of the oven to drop once you keep checking and checking and checking. Trust me, I left the house and came back and it was still good. So don't worry about it. Ribeyes are my favorite cut of steak due to the fact of all the marbling it has. It's another way for saying fat. So the fat really brings out that extra flavor of the ribeye. Now, one thing people always, reasons why they don't like ribeyes because the fat is chewy. But if that fat is cooked properly, it shouldn't be chewy. It should be nice and buttery, melt in your mouth, and along with the flavor of the steak itself, it's really delicious. So when you cook it correctly, it's no problem. So our ribeye roast has been cooking for about an hour. We're gonna take it out, we're gonna check it with our thermometer, make sure it's the desired temperature that we want. If not, we're gonna pop it back in for another 20 to 30 minutes on our ribeye roast. So let's check it out. Fuck, that was fucking hot. Fuck, that was so hot. Make sure when you take your ribeye out the oven that your towel isn't wet. Because if your towel is wet, that cast iron skillet or whatever you're using is gonna burn straight through it. That was so hot. Here's our ribeye roast. We're gonna use our thermometer that I brought. So right now we're at 105 degrees Fahrenheit. We want that 140, so I'm gonna throw it in for another 30 minutes until it gets up to 145 and it's delicious. Medium, ready for me to eat. So we just checked the temperature of our steak. It's not fully ready yet. It's not up to that 145 degrees, that full medium that we want. So we're gonna throw it back inside the oven so we can get that desired temperature. So when I started to sear that outside part of the ribeye, so it had butcher's twine on it, and as I was searing it, it kind of got in the oil, and then it started to burn, which created this big smoke in the house that was, it was almost unable to breathe. We were unable to breathe in here. So it was, I mean, it made a good sear on the steak, but at the same time, we were like, now back to our steak. Okay, now that our steak's been cooking for another 30 minutes inside the oven, our ribeye roast should be done or close to being done. So I'm gonna take it out and I'm gonna check the temperature. Go. So I let my ribeye roast cool down just a little bit here. Gonna check it with my handy dandy thermometer. I want to look for at least 136, 140, because once we let it cool down fully, it'll reach up to 145 degrees Fahrenheit. Remember that string we had on here earlier? Boom. Here we go. As you can see, beautiful medium, nice and pink on the inside. Still juicy, you can still see the juices. Oh man, only thing I could tell you, don't give everybody a piece. Okay, here we go. Oh man, this is so good. Oh my God, this is so freaking good. Now, if you want to make a delicious ribeye roast like this, just make sure you follow the recipe in the description below. And if you really like it, make sure you like the video. And if you really like it, make sure you share on your Facebook, Instagram, and let all your friends know about JB's Food Adventures. See you next time.